Welcome to duty.
Hi, my name is Chris and this is Battle Nonsense. With Battlefield 1982, I try to show you guys what the Battlefield franchise could be like if you would develop a game that builds upon the designs of the original 4 Refractor engine Battlefield games and only add improvements and innovations where these actually improve the experience of the player. In other words, what I'm describing here is what I would consider the worthy Battlefield 2 successor that we sadly never got. So Battlefield 1982 is not a game that is actually getting developed, nor is it a mod for an existing game. It's the collection of design concepts and ideas which I had during the last few years. And I decided to share them with the community because then this might spark a few discussions and provide examples that players can actually point their finger at and tell the developers that this is something that they would like to get in the next title. So in the previous concepts I've shown you a different approach to the class system, a new deploy screen, a lot of teamwork mechanics, a new ranking system and a lot more. I'm a big fan of diversity and dynamic gameplay elements, as you might have noticed in some of my previous design concepts. What I don't like are scripted events that can be triggered by players, like the big Levolution events, or scripts that the game triggers at a certain point in the game, like the storm on Paracel Storm. The reason why I don't like these massive scripted sequences is that they wear off rather quickly. They can even get to the point where they are just annoying and you feel that the primary reason why they were included in the first place was that they made a great trailer. So, as I said in one of my previous concepts, I value small and medium-sized destruction much more than those massive scripted sequences, because these allow for much more gameplay variety. And that means that they actually add more to the experience, which is good for its longevity. Now, to increase that diversity even further, I would like to have 2 additional dynamic elements that are not meant to have a massive impact on the gameplay, but instead breathe more life into the maps so that they don't feel exactly the same every single time you play on them. These elements are dynamic weather and daytime changes. My idea is that the designer can choose which weather conditions he allows on the map, and he could also select how common or rare these are. That would then allow him to fine-tune the weather to the setting of the map, because it would break the immersion to have a tropical storm on a map that is set in the desert. In addition to the weather settings, the designer is also able to define at which time of the day you will play on that map. So he could set a time frame like between 5 in the morning to 8 in the evening. But which weather condition or conditions you encounter during the match and at which time of the day you begin to play is randomly selected by the server. This means that the map could begin at sunrise where all the city lights are still on, or it starts in the afternoon and ends at sunset if the match does not end before the round duration time is over. You could have rain when the round begins, and then the rain stops and the sun comes out. Or you have sunshine during the entire round. So, as I said, these dynamic effects are not intended to have a big impact on your experience like those scripted events in Battlefield 4. Their purpose is to add some slight variation to the multiplayer maps to avoid that feeling that you play the exact same thing over and over again. However, we should consider to have a few rare weather effects that do have a slight impact on the gameplay. Like a fog, which limits the view distance and conceals the movement of troops. Or that heavy rain causes rivers to rise, which means that vehicles cannot cross them. Or that pilots have to work a little bit harder when there's a storm happening. But even though these dynamic effects are not as intrusive as what we've seen in Battlefield 4, the administrator of the game server should still have the option to disable them in case that his community does not like them, or when the map is played as part of a tournament. So let me know in the comments down below what you think about this dynamic daytime and weather system, or which system you would like to see in one of the upcoming games that would add more diversity to the maps. I also want to thank ShadowSix who made those really great still pictures and the video clip, which show what such a dynamic weather and daytime change could look like in a Battlefield game. You should definitely have a look at his YouTube channel and image gallery, where he released a lot of very impressive wallpapers that many YouTubers, including myself, use for the thumbnails of their videos. If you decide to use one for your video, then please remember to credit him in the description of your video, as this is the least that we who benefit from his work can do to thank him. You can find all the links in the description. If you enjoyed this video, then please give it a like, subscribe for more, and I hope to see you next time. Until then, have a nice day and take care. My name is Chris and this was Battle Nonsense.